Welcome to Elderly Wisdom Way, where we uncover the secrets to living richer, fuller, and wiser in your golden years. Today we're diving into 7 things you need to stop doing right now if you're in your senior years. 7 traps that sneak up on us, dimming our light when it's meant to shine brightest. From silencing your voice to shying away from connection, neglecting your health to burying your desires, we're tearing down the myths and sparking a revolution of self-love and purpose. Think your best days are behind you? Think again, because here at Elderly Wisdom Way we believe wisdom isn't just for looking back, it's for lighting the way forward. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's unlock the life you deserve, starting now. 1. Stop accepting everything without question. Imagine this. You're sitting at a family dinner, the chatter buzzing around you like a swarm of bees, and someone, maybe your loudmouthed cousin or that know-it-all neighbor, drops an opinion so absurd it makes your blood simmer. You feel it, don't you? That itch deep in your chest, the urge to speak up, to call it out for the nonsense it is. But then, like a scene from a slow-motion movie, you catch yourself. Your lips part, your breath catches, and you swallow it down. You nod instead, forcing a tight smile, letting the moment slip away. What? Because somewhere along the line, you've convinced yourself that keeping the peace is worth more than your own voice. That staying quiet, nodding along, is the noble, mature thing to do in your golden years. But what if I told you that every time you do this, you're not just keeping the peace, you're handing over a piece of your soul? Buckle up, because this is the first thing you need to stop doing right now, accepting everything people say without questioning it. And trust me, what's at stake here is bigger than you think. Picture the shock of it hitting you like a thunderclap, years of biting your tongue, of letting others' words steamroll over your own, piling up like bricks until one day you look in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. It's not just a quiet habit, it's a slow, creeping theft of your identity. Every yes you mutter when your heart screams no, every time you shrink back to avoid rocking the boat, you're chipping away at the very core of who you are. You might think it's harmless, a small price to pay to dodge drama or stress. But here's the gut-punch truth, it's not harmless. It's a betrayal of yourself. You've spent decades gathering wisdom, weathering storms, earning the right to stand tall with the weight of your experience, and yet you're letting it all slip through your fingers just to keep everyone else comfortable. Doesn't that sting? Doesn't it make you want to grab the reins of your life and yank them back? Let's rewind the tape for a second. Think about all those moments. The times you've sat silently while someone rambled on with half-baked ideas, the times you've agreed to plans you hated, the times you've let someone else's opinion drown out your own because you didn't want to stir the pot. Maybe it was at a community meeting when that pushy organizer insisted on a decision you knew was dead wrong. Or at a holiday gathering when a relative spouted something so off-base you nearly choked on your turkey. You felt the words bubbling up, hot and sharp, but you shoved them down, didn't you? You told yourself it wasn't worth the fight. But here's the twist that'll knock the wind out of you. Every time you do that, you're not just keeping peace with them, you're waging war on yourself. You're trading your self-worth for a fleeting calm, and the cost? What's deep? It's your voice, your autonomy, your fire. And the kicker? The people you're appeasing probably don't even notice the sacrifice you're making. Now let's crank up the tension. Imagine waking up one morning years from now and realizing you've silenced yourself so much that you've forgotten what your own voice sounds like. The thought alone is chilling, like a horror movie where the hero discovers they've been a ghost all along. You've got a lifetime of lessons etched into your bones, a perspective so rich and deep it could light up a room, and yet you're letting it gather dust because you've bought into the lie that your opinions don't matter anymore. Who sold you that garbage? Society? The expectation that seniors should just smile and fade into the background? Whatever it is, it's a con, and you've been falling for it hook, line, and sinker. But here's the dramatic turn. It's not too late to rip up the script. Stand with me on the edge of this cliff for a moment. Feel the wind rushing past, the thrill of what's possible if you just take the leap. Stop nodding along like a puppet on strings. Stop letting others dictate your truth. You've got a voice forged in the fires of decades, raw, real, and powerful, and it's begging to be heard. The next time someone spouts nonsense, don't just sit there. Question it. Challenge it. Let your words fly like arrows, sharp and true. Sure, it might ruffle feathers. Sure, it might spark a fight. But isn't that better than the slow suffocation of silence? You're not here to fade away, you're here to live, to roar, to reclaim the autonomy you've earned. So take a deep breath, feel the surge of defiance in your veins, and stop giving away your power. Your voice isn't just a gift, it's a weapon. Wield it. 2. Stop social isolation. Picture this. You're sitting alone in your living room, the clock ticking louder than it should, the silence pressing against your chest like a heavy fog. The phone hasn't rung in days. The invitations to coffee or a quick chat have dried up like a riverbed in a drought. You tell yourself it's fine, maybe it's easier this way, safer, less exhausting. After all, you're older now, and the energy it takes to keep up with people feels like climbing a mountain with no peak in sight. But then, bam, it hits you like a freight train out of nowhere. You're not just alone, you're vanishing. Slowly, surely you've been pulling the curtains closed on your own life, retreating into a shadow of solitude. And here's the second thing you need to stop doing right now: isolating yourself socially. Buckle up, because what's at stake here is more than a quiet afternoon. It's your very essence, teetering on the edge of a cliff you didn't even see coming. Feel the jolt of that realization, the icy grip of it sinking into your bones. You thought you were choosing peace, didn't you? A cozy retreat from the chaos of the world, a chance to rest those weary legs and tired heart. But here's the twist that'll make your pulse race. Isolation isn't peace, it's a thief in the night, sneaking in to rob you blind. It's not just about missing a laugh over coffee or a warm hug from an old friend. No, this is bigger, darker, more sinister. Loneliness doesn't just whisper in your ear, it digs its claws in deep, draining the color from your days, stealing the spark from your eyes. And the shocker? It's not just your emotions it's after. Science screams it loud and clear. Prolonged isolation can wreck your body, heart disease, depression, even your mind slipping away like sand through your fingers. You're wired for connection, built to thrive on it, and yet here you are, locking the door on the very thing that keeps you alive. Rewind the reel for a moment. Think about the last time you skipped that gathering. Maybe it was a neighborhood barbecue, the smoke curling into the sky, voices overlapping in a messy symphony of life. You told yourself it was too much hassle, too loud, too tiring. Or that friend who called, their voice crackling with excitement, and you let it go to voicemail because you just couldn't muster the strength. You've been fading out, haven't you? Step by step, excuse by excuse, letting those threads of connection unravel until you're standing alone in the wreckage. But here's the gut-wrenching truth that'll knock you sideways. Every time you turn away, you're not just avoiding discomfort, you're sentencing yourself to a slow, aching decay. Loneliness isn't some gentle companion. It's a predator stalking you in the quiet, waiting to pounce when you least expect it. And the tragedy? You're handing it the keys. Now let's crank up the stakes. Imagine this. One day you wake up to a world so still it feels like a tomb. The laughter's gone, the stories you used to tell buried under dust, the faces you once knew blurred into memory. You've isolated yourself so long that the world's moved on without you, and the shock of it feels like a punch to the chest. But wait, here's the dramatic turn that'll set your heart racing. It's not over yet. You're still here, still breathing, still holding a spark that can light up the dark. You've got stories carved into your soul, wisdom that could stop a room cold, a presence that still matters. So why are you letting it waste away? Why are you surrendering to the lie that you're too old, too tired, too out of place to belong? That's the con society sold you, and you've been swallowing it whole, but not anymore. Stand on the edge with me now, feel the wind whip through your hair, the thrill of what's possible if you just take the plunge. Stop hiding. Stop retreating. Reach out, pick up that phone, knock on that door, step into that room you've been avoiding. Sure, it might feel like leaping off a ledge, heart pounding, palms sweaty, but isn't that better than the slow suffocation of solitude? You're not some relic to be shelved. You're a force, a heartbeat, a soul that still craves connection. Join that club, call that friend, share that story, and watch the world crack open again. The joy, the warmth, the life you thought was slipping away? It's closer than you think, waiting just beyond the door you've kept shut. So throw it wide, step into the light, and let the loneliness choke on its own emptiness. You deserve to be seen, to be heard, to be alive, right now, today, with every fiber of who you are. Don't let isolation win. 3. Stop neglecting your physical health. Imagine this. You're standing in your kitchen, the morning light spilling through the window, and you reach for that jar on the top shelf. Your fingers graze it, your arm trembles, and then, crack. A jolt of pain shoots through your back like lightning. You freeze, breath caught, the jar tumbling to the floor in a shattering explosion of glass. You brush it off, muttering, "It's fine, I'm fine," because you've convinced yourself that this is just how it is now. Aches, stiffness, a body that creaks like an old house in a storm. You've stopped exercising, skipped that doctor's appointment again, let the dust settle on your running shoes, all because a voice in your head whispers, "What's the point?" It's too late. But then, bam! The truth slams into you like a runaway train. You're not just tired, you're teetering on the edge of a cliff you didn't even see coming. This is the third thing you need to stop doing right now, neglecting your physical health because you think it's too late to make a difference. Hold on tight, because what's at risk here is nothing less than your freedom, your vitality, your life, and the ride's about to get wild. Feel the shock of it ripple through you, sharp and cold as ice water. You thought you were just slowing down, didn't you? A natural fade into the sunset, a graceful bow to age. But here's the twist that'll make your heart lurch. It's not natural, it's a trap. Every day you shrug off that walk around the block, every time you skip the veggies for something quick, every moment you ignore that nagging ache instead of facing it head-on, you're not just letting time win, you're handing it a loaded gun. Your body's been your warrior, carrying you through decades of battles and triumphs, and now you're abandoning it like a shipwreck on a forgotten shore. The kicker? It's not too late, not even close, but you've been sleepwalking toward a reckoning. Studies scream it from the rooftops. Neglect now means more than creaky joints. It's a fast track to heart disease, diabetes, a fall that could steal your independence in a heartbeat. You're not invincible anymore, and that's terrifying, but it's also a wake-up call that could change everything. Rewind the scene for a second. Think about the last time you waved off a chance to move. Maybe it was that sunny day you stayed on the couch instead of strolling through the park, the leaves crunching underfoot, the air filling your lungs. Or that moment you canceled the checkup because it's not that bad yet, even though your knees groaned with every step. You've been telling yourself it doesn't matter, that your 60s, 70s, or 80s are too far gone for a comeback. But here's the gut punch that'll knock the breath out of you. Every small choice you dodge is a brick in the wall between you and the life you could still have. You're not just skipping a workout, you're risking the day you can't get out of bed without help, the moment you can't chase your grandkids or dance to that song you love. And the real shocker? It's not just your body paying the price, your spirit's in the crosshairs too. Neglect your health and the fog creeps in. Less energy, more gloom, a spark snuffed out before you even notice. Now let's turn up the heat. Picture this. One morning you wake up and the mirror shows a stranger, pale, slumped, a shadow of the fire you once were. The years of too late have piled up and suddenly you're not just stiff, you're stuck. The chair's your prison, the stare's your enemy, and the life you loved slips away like smoke. But wait, here's the dramatic pivot that'll set your pulse racing. You can rewrite the ending. Right now. That walk you've been avoiding? It's not just a chore, it's a rebellion against surrender. That salad you've skipped? It's fuel for a fight. That doctor's visit? It's your battle cry. Small steps, 10-minute stretching, a glass of water, a checkup, aren't just routines, they're weapons to reclaim your strength, your confidence, your joy. You're not too old, you're too alive to give up. Stand with me at the brink now, the wind howling, the stakes sky high. Stop telling yourself it's pointless. Stop letting your body rust like an abandoned machine. You're not here to fade, you're here to thrive, to honor the vessel that's carried you this far. Take that step, feel the ground beneath you solid and sure. Eat that meal, taste the life in every bite. Make that call, hear the hope in your own voice. It's not about turning back time, it's about seizing the years ahead, filling them with energy, freedom, moments that make your heart sing. You're not done, not by a long shot. So grab the reins, defy the lie, and fight for your health. The best of you is still waiting to shine, don't let it slip away. Stop living in the past. Imagine this. You're sitting in your favorite armchair, the one that's held you through countless evenings, a cup of coffee cooling in your hands. The room's quiet, save for the soft hum of memories swirling in your mind, laughter from a long-ago summer, the echo of a voice you'll never hear again, the sting of a choice you wish you'd made differently. You sink into it, don't you? Those golden days when life felt electric, when every step was an adventure, when the world was yours to conquer. You've wrapped yourself in those moments like a warm blanket, telling yourself it's comfort, it's treasure. But then, boom, a jolt rips through you like a crack of thunder. You're not just reminiscing, you're trapped. The past has its claws in you and you didn't even see it tighten its grip. This is the fourth thing you need to stop doing right now. Living in the past and letting those old memories overshadow your present. Strap in because this ride's about to shake you awake. Feel the shock of it hit you, sharp and relentless, like a splash of cold water on a sleeping face. You thought you were honoring your history, didn't you? Keeping it alive, holding tight to the people and places that shaped you. But here's the twist that'll make your stomach drop. It's not honoring, it's chaining. Every time you drift back to what was, every time you measure today against yesterday's glow, you're not just visiting, you're surrendering. The past isn't a soft glow, it's a thief in the dark, stealing the light from right now. You've been so busy staring backward, replaying that missed chance, that lost love, that perfect moment, that you've missed the sunrise outside your window, the laughter down the hall, the pulse of life still beating in your veins. And the gut punch? You've convinced yourself your best days are gone, that the curtain's fallen, that all you've got left is a scrapbook of yesterdays. But that's a lie. and it's costing you everything. Rewind the film for a second. Think about the last time you caught yourself lost in it. Maybe it was flipping through old photos, the edges worn from your touch, or driving past that house where everything changed. You felt the ache, the tug, the bittersweet pull of, if only. If only you'd said yes. If only they were still here. If only you could go back. You've let regret paint your present gray, haven't you? Let it whisper that the excitement's over, that your story's already written. But here's the heart-stopping truth that'll jolt you upright. Every second you spend there is a second you're robbing from now. The past can't be changed. It's a ghost, a shadow, an echo, but right now? It's alive, raw, bursting with chances you're too blind to see because you're shackled to what's gone. And the real kicker? The longer you stay there, the closer you get to missing the plot twist of your own life. Now let's crank up the stakes. Picture this. One day you wake up and the years have slipped through your fingers like sand. You've spent so long gazing back that the world's moved on without you. Friends fading, opportunities vanishing, the vibrancy of today dulled to a whisper. You're stuck, a prisoner in a museum of your own making, and the shock of it feels like a slap across the face. But wait, here's the dramatic turn that'll set your heart racing. You can break free. Right this second. The present isn't a consolation prize, it's the main event and you're still in the game. That hobby you've always wanted to try? It's calling. That new friend you could meet? They're out there. That sunrise you've ignored? Is painting the sky just for you. You're not too old for adventure. You're too alive to waste it on shadows. Stand with me on this ledge now, the wind roaring, the horizon blazing with possibility. Stop living in rewind. Stop letting the past dictate your now. You've got wisdom etched into your soul, a spirit that's weathered storms, a heart that still hungers for more. Why let it gather dust? Turn the page, rip it out if you have to, and write a new chapter. Try that dance class, taste that dish you've never cooked, laugh until your sides ache. The best isn't behind you, it's here, daring you to grab it. Feel the rush, the fire, the defiance as you step out of yesterday's grip. You're not a relic, you're a force, a story still unfolding, a life too rich to leave on pause. The past can keep its memories, you've got a present to claim and it's electric with promise. Don't look back. Run toward it. 5. Stop sacrificing personal happiness for others. Picture this. You're standing in the kitchen, the phone buzzing against the counter, your daughter's voice on the other end pleading for you to drop everything, again. The dishes are piled high from last night's family dinner you cooked, your back aches from hours on your feet, and your untouched sketchbook sits in the corner, gathering dust. You say yes, of course, because that's who you are. The rock, the giver, the one who never says no. You've spent decades pouring your heart into others. Your kids, your spouse, your friends, telling yourself it's noble, it's love, it's your duty. But then, wham! A revelation crashes over you like a tidal wave. You're not just giving, you're disappearing. The 5th thing you need to stop doing right now is sacrificing your happiness and well-being for others. Brace yourself because this is about to get raw, real, and downright electrifying. Feel the shock of it sear through you, hot and jagged, like a lightning bolt splitting the sky. You thought you were being selfless, didn't you? A hero in your own quiet way, holding everyone else up while you faded into the background. But here's the twist that'll make your heart stutter. It's not heroism, it's a slow unraveling. Every time you say yes when you're screaming inside, every time you set aside your dreams to fix someone else's mess, you're not just helping, you're erasing yourself. You've been a caretaker so long you've forgotten what your own laughter sounds like, what it feels like to chase a joy that's yours alone. And the gut punch? The people you've bled for, they don't even see it. They've gotten so used to your endless giving that they don't notice the toll, the weight, the way you're crumbling under the load you've shouldered for years. Doesn't that burn? Doesn't it make you want to scream? Rewind the tape for a moment. Think about the last time you swallowed your own needs. Maybe it was skipping that trip you dreamed of because your son needed cash, or staying up all night to soothe a friend's tears while your own went unshed. You've postponed your happiness, haven't you? Always with that whisper, later, I'll get to me later. But later never comes, and here's the heart-stopping truth that'll jolt you awake. You've trained them to expect it. You've built a world where your worth is tied to how much you can give, and they've taken it, gratefully at first, then thoughtlessly, until you're a ghost in your own life. You've poured out love, time, energy, and what's left? A hollow ache, a flicker of resentment you don't dare name, a question echoing in the dark. When's it my turn? And the shocker? If you don't stop now, that turn might never come. Now let's turn up the heat. Imagine this. One day you wake up and the mirror shows a stranger, eyes dim, shoulders slumped, a shell of the fire you once were. You've given so much there's nothing left, and the people you've carried? They're off living their lives, oblivious to the wreckage they've left behind. The shock of it hits like a punch to the gut. All those years, all that love, and you're the one paying the price. Exhausted, drained, a shadow of who you could be. But wait, here's the dramatic twist that'll set your pulse racing. You can break the cycle. Right now. That no you've been afraid to say? It's your lifeline. That boundary you've never set? It's your shield. That dream you've shelved? It's your rebellion. You're not selfish for wanting joy, you're human and you've earned it 1,000 times over. Stand with me on this precipice now, the wind howling, the stakes towering. Stop sacrificing yourself. Stop letting your light dim for others' comfort. You've got a soul that's weathered storms, a heart that deserves to beat for you, a life too precious to waste on an empty cup. Say no, feel the power in it, the rush of reclaiming your voice. Take that trip, taste the freedom in the air. Pick up that hobby, let your hands dance with purpose again. You're not here to fade into the sidelines, you're here to shine, to live, to claim the happiness you've deferred too long. Feel the fire ignite, the defiance surge, the weight lift as you step out of their shadows. You've done enough, more than enough, and now it's your time. The world doesn't need your endless giving. It needs your joy, your spark, your unapologetic you. Don't wait for permission, seize it. You're not just worth it, you're overdue for it. Let the resentment burn away and rise. 6. Stop ignoring physical and emotional limits. Picture this. You're hauling a heavy box up the stairs, sweat beading on your forehead, your knees creaking like rusty hinges. Your breath comes in short, ragged gasps, but you grit your teeth and push on because stopping feels like admitting defeat. You've always been the strong one, the one who never faltered, who carried the load when others couldn't. But then, crack. A sharp pain explodes in your lower back, dropping you to your knees, the box crashing down with a thunderous thud. You sit there, stunned, the world spinning, telling yourself it's nothing, you'll shake it off like always. You've ignored the signs for years, the fatigue, the strain, the quiet whispers of your body begging for rest, because slowing down means weakness, right? Wrong. Here comes the 6th thing you need to stop doing right now. Ignoring your physical and emotional limits because you're afraid of seeming weak or incapable. Buckle up because this is about to get intense, raw, and downright electrifying. Feel the shock of it slam into you hard and fast, like a car screeching to a halt inches from the edge. You thought you were invincible, didn't you? A warrior who could outlast time itself, pushing through every ache, every sleepless night, every wave of exhaustion, all to prove you've still got it. But here's the twist that'll make your heart race. You're not unbreakable, you're human, and you're teetering on a razor's edge. Every time you lift more than you should, run faster than your legs can carry you, or bury that bone-deep weariness under a mask of grit, you're not winning, you're gambling. Your body's been screaming for mercy, tight shoulders, a racing pulse, a mind foggy with stress, and you've turned a deaf ear, terrified that saying, "I can't," is the same as giving up. But the gut punch? Ignoring those limits isn't strength, it's a ticking time bomb and it's about to blow. Rewind the reel for a moment. Think about the last time you pushed too far. Maybe it was mowing the lawn in the blistering heat, your shirt soaked, your vision blurring, but you refused to stop because it's just a yard. Or that night you stayed up late, eyes burning, finishing a task someone else could have handled, because asking for help felt like a crack in your armor. You've been running on fumes, haven't you? Telling yourself you're fine, that you're still the you of 20 years ago, all while your body waves red flags you refuse to see. But here's the heart-stopping truth that'll jolt you awake. Every ignored signal is a step toward disaster. A fall that breaks more than pride, a burnout that leaves you hollow, a health scare that could have been dodged if you just listened. And the shocker? You're not cheating age, you're cheating yourself out of the years you still have left to live fully. Now let's crank up the stakes. Imagine this. One day you push too hard and the ground gives way beneath you. You're flat on your back, staring at the ceiling, a doctor's voice droning about avoidable damage. A strained muscle turned permanent, a heart strained beyond repair, a life you loved slipping through your fingers. The shock of it feels like a punch to the chest. All that stubborn pride, all that refusal to bend, and you're the one who pays the price. Trapped in a body you didn't protect, a mind you didn't spare. But wait, here's the dramatic turn that'll set your blood pumping. You can rewrite the script. Right now. That no you've dreaded? It's your shield. That rest you've denied? It's your strength. That help you've shunned? It's your lifeline. You're not weak for knowing your limits. You're wise, fierce, alive. Stand with me at this crossroads now, the air crackling, the choice razor sharp. Stop pretending you're a machine. Stop racing against a clock you can't outrun. You've got a body that's carried you through decades, a mind that's weathered storms. Why let them crumble for the sake of a lie? Take a breath. Feel the relief flood in, the power of letting go. Say, I can't today. Hear the freedom in it, the courage it takes to honor yourself. Ask for help. Watch the world shift, not in judgment, but in awe of your wisdom. You're not here to prove anything. You're here to live, to savor, to thrive at your own pace. Feel the rush, the defiance, the thrill as you step off the treadmill of should and into the life you deserve. Your worth isn't in what you can do. It's in who you are, battle-scarred and beautiful. You're not losing ground, you're claiming it, stronger than ever. Don't push past the breaking point, build from it. The fight's not over, it's just begun. 7. Stop avoiding sexual relationships. Imagine this. You're sitting on the edge of your bed, the evening shadows stretching across the room, a quiet ache stirring deep in your chest. It's been years since you felt that spark, the rush of closeness, the heat of a touch, the thrill of desire. You've told yourself it's over, haven't you? That age has drawn a line in the sand, that intimacy is a young person's game, that your body's too worn, too changed to crave connection. You've packed away that part of yourself like an old photograph, faded and forgotten, because society's whispered it in your ear. You're past that now. But then, bam, a jolt hits you like a bolt from the blue. You're not done. Not even close. The 7th thing you need to stop doing right now is avoiding sexual relationships because you think you've aged out of them. Hold on tight because this is about to get wild, raw, and absolutely exhilarating. Feel the shock of it surge through you, hot and electric, like a storm breaking over a still sea. You thought desire had an expiration date, didn't you? That the years had snuffed it out, that your skin's creases and your slower steps meant the fire was gone. But here's the twist that'll make your pulse pound. It's a lie, a cruel, suffocating myth that's robbed you blind. Sexuality doesn't clock out at 60, 70, or 80. It's woven into your bones, a thread of who you are, pulsing with life no matter the calendar's count. You've been hiding from it, haven't you? Shamed into silence by a world that says intimacy is for the smooth-skinned and spry, terrified that wanting it now makes you foolish or frail. But the gut punch? Every time you turn away, you're not just dodging awkwardness, you're denying yourself a piece of your soul. And the real kicker? It's not just pleasure you're missing. It's power, connection, a heartbeat that says you're still here, still alive. Rewind the scene for a moment. Think about the last time you felt it flicker. Maybe a fleeting glance that stirred something dormant, a memory of a night when your body sang, a quiet longing you buried under, I'm too old for this. You've let the mirror dictate your worth, haven't you? Let the years convince you that passion's a relic, that your touch can't ignite, that your heart's too weathered to race. But here's the heart-stopping truth that'll jolt you upright. Intimacy isn't gone, it's waiting, bolder and deeper than ever. Age doesn't erase it, it refines it, stripping away the shallow games of youth and leaving something raw, real, electric. You're not too late, you're too alive to let this slip through your fingers. And science backs it up. Sex isn't just joy, it's a lifeline, pumping endorphins, oxytocin, resilience into your veins, lifting your spirit and shielding your body from times where you've been starving yourself of a feast you still deserve. Now let's crank up the stakes. Picture this. One day you wake up and the silence is deafening. You've shut the door on intimacy so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to be wanted, to be close, to be seen. The shock of it cuts like a knife. All those years, all that wisdom, and you've let a myth cage your spirit. Alone, untouched, a shadow of the fire you could be. But wait, here's the dramatic turn that'll set your blood racing. You can rewrite the story. Right now. That desire you've hushed? It's your rebellion. That touch you've craved? It's your right. That connection you've feared? It's your triumph. Your body's changed. Sure, it's slower, softer, but it's wiser, too braver, ready to explore what feels good now, not then. You're not bound by old rules. You're free to redefine them, to laugh, to love, to feel with every fiber of who you are. Stand with me on this brink now, the air crackling, the horizon blazing with possibility. Stop believing you're past it. Stop letting age steal what's yours. You've got a heart that's weathered storms, a soul that's earned its scars, a body that still hungers. Why let it languish? Lean in, feel the rush, the heat, the defiance as you claim your sexuality with the confidence of your years. Talk to your partner, let your voice tremble, then soar. Explore what works, slow, tender, bold, yours. You're not here to fade, you're here to burn, to connect, to revel in a pleasure that's deeper now than ever. Feel the thrill, the power, the life as you shatter the myth and step into your own. You're not too old, you're too fierce to let this go. Intimacy isn't a memory, it's a fire and it's yours to stoke. Light it up. Breaking these habits can help you regain control of your life and live a more meaningful and happy life in your later years. This is an opportunity to enjoy freedom, wisdom, and joy in a new phase of life. Thank you for watching the whole video. If you don't like this content, please comment 0. If you find the video useful, please comment 1. Subscribe to the channel and remember to turn on the notification bell to see other useful health content. See you in the next video.